Well, thank you so much for joining us here on AccuWeather Weekend. I'm Bree.
And I'm also Constanzer. A lot to talk about as we continue through another fall weekend.
Another fall weekend, another beautiful fall weekend, though it does come with a caveat.
Yeah.
We'll get to that in just a bit. We're going to start you off with a satellite and radar. We don't really have too much to talk about here. We have a few showers, some storms starting to get going here across the Mississippi, Tennessee valleys, but overall, a lot of us are hanging dry today, Melissa.
Yeah, really quiet. You can see even the southwest, just a couple of clouds. All that moisture is well offshore with Christie. And in the northwest, we have a little bit of action, but well, California, one of those spots that's always looking out for any sort of moisture. And right now, we're not seeing anything in California, though. We'll talk about those clouds in a moment. Meanwhile, across the tropics, we are keeping an eye on this storm system here. Showers, thunderstorms, just kind of holding up here. It's not really an organized setup. It's mostly just showers and thunderstorms. But could it become a tropical system? Well, we know the warm water is out there. Temperatures in the 80s. Note the sea surface temperatures starting to go down a little bit closer to the U.S. coastline. That's those long nights, cooler air over the land has an influence of the nearby water temperatures. So some subtle changes there, but not enough to destroy tropical systems. What would be is the shear. Look at all the strong winds across the Caribbean. This is why we don't have anything forming in this area for the upcoming days. However, as we go through the later part of the week into the start of November, there is potential, I think it's likely, that we'll see something coming its way northward as a hurricane. So we're still watching that in the Pacific, but it's weakening quickly. Let's take you
cancellation forecast.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good, at least for most of us, as we go through Saturday, Sunday into Monday. Notice, though, we'll start to get up.
Well, thank you so much for sticking with us here on AccuWeather Weekend. Hurricane Helene caused massive deforestation to some areas of the. Thanks, Aaron, for that report. Switching gears, fall brings crisp weather and a colorful foliage. But when those leaves drop, you're going to need to know how to take care of your lawn. I was able to speak with some experts earlier this week. That is Dan Reinhardt. Well, I certainly learned some great tips on lawn care and those falling leaves. They're beautiful while they're up, but they can cause problems when they come down. This weekend, a wide view of the country. Highs relatively steady. I mean, Billings, you're at
a lot of those eastern-facing beaches and eventually maybe even some northern-facing beaches like the North Shore, for example. Here it is, Hawaii, well off towards the west, and there's Christie working its way northward. This is a major hurricane, and it continues to push its way northward here through the Pacific, luckily staying away basin where we see all these showers and thunderstorms here. This is really just an area of showers and thunderstorms that often we find this time of year in October, and it can lead to some development. In fact, it is likely to in the upcoming days. When we talk about this area, it tends to produce different storm systems called gyres. Basically, showers and thunderstorms, sometimes they wind shear to lighten in this area throughout the week. And as that lightens, that's when we become a little bit more likely to see tropical development. So we're looking at that for Halloween into the first couple of days of November. As we talk about it this week, it is likely to see a tropical system. Where it forms in here will determine if it goes. As flood cleanup continues in the wake of hurricanes Helene and Milton and other recent storms, there's a critical health risk to watch out for. Some great tips there. And again, the cleanup after Helene and Milton still ongoing in some locations as the water levels recede in Florida. And honestly, there's just so much extensive damage from flooding western North Carolina. It's the challenge. You can see where we've had the rain in the past 30 days. Basically, from those two storms, that you either got it from Helene or you got it from Milton. If not, you didn't get it across the southern U.S. Because we just have not had that much in the way of rainfall. Let's talk about your Saturday. More largely dry weather, but they're even around Charlotte for today, which is where we have that benefit concert going on. Temperatures in the mid-80s. And we'll watch for some of those thunderstorms to kick up through the evening. This is what it looks like as that boundary starts off through the midday, drives its way through the mountains. And if you're in the northern tier of the nation, maybe you're doing a little bit of pumpkin picking. I don't know, by the way, if those pumpkin benefits translate to the pumpkin spice lattes and all sorts of things, or even pumpkin seeds. But either way, if you are picking out a pumpkin across the northern tier of the nation today, maybe you're doing a little cooking or just getting ready to cut it. Temperatures are there as we head through Sunday with more of the warmth returning overall. And those numbers headed up. Many spots here holding on to the 60s, like Green Bay, 63 for that high, 60 into next week. Well, unfortunately, there's a new storm system diving into the west, and while that happens, it's going to kick up the winds ahead of that storm system as we move through the early week. So we'll watch for some very windy times, winds of change, if you will. Let's take you to your weekend outlook because we got to get a glimpse of some of the other cities around the nation. In Orlando, Florida, one of those spots. We, of course, have had the cleanup with Milton ongoing here, but as we look, it's actually kind of a decent weather pattern for Saturday and Sunday if you're trying to get out and about. We hold on to temperatures in the 80s. Great chance to maybe work on a little bit of that yard work if you need to catch up on things, or perhaps maybe just get out and about and enjoy time on the town. Chicago, also a great place to be for this weekend. Saturday, we're in the upper 50s. This is where we should be this time of year. Notice how we raise the bar a little bit stepping into Sunday.